geez.
Good evening and welcome to the May 16th, 2017 business meeting of the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. This meeting is being broadcast live and will be replayed on Channel 77 throughout the week. Kelly, statement of compliance, please.
Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by Mayor John M. Spear pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-179 through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends issue of May 7, 2017, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted on the bulletin board May 4, 2017. The Suburban Trends, the Bergen Record, and WGHT. At this time, please turn off all electronic devices during the meeting.
Thank you, Kelly. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Spear.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Here.
Councilmembers Davison.
Here.
Landis.
Here.
Marsala.
Here.
Schaefer.
Here.
Also present, Borough Manager, Director, Department of Public Works, Scott Heck, Deputy Borough Manager, Borough Clerk, Kelly Hallowitz, and Borough Attorney, Richard J. Kleeback. Please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For our first order of business tonight, I would like to turn it over to our Police Chief, Joe Walker. Chief Walker, if you would please come up and do these presentations, please.
First, is this on?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce Chief Timmy Storback from the West Milford Police Department. He's going to assist me with giving these awards out. There's nothing more gratifying, excuse my voice, nothing more gratifying than emergency service workers saving a life in their line of duty. We do it all the time, but sometimes you go up to another level. This is the case on April 7th. April 7th, we received a call of a kayaker in distress up in the Monksville Reservoir. Officer responded and found Mr. Augusta, who is here, right here. He had overturned his kayak, and due to the cold temperatures, was suffering from hypothermia. Our officers responded. Officer Dupree immediately entered the water after getting rid of his duty gear, had a flotation device, swam out to Mr. Augusta, and started bringing him in. He was later assisted by Officer Bergman of the West Milford Police Department, Chief Ringwood from the Stonetown Fire Department, and Chief Renaud from the Erskine Fire Department. And on behalf of myself and Chief Storback, we'd like to award these officers for their bravery in the line of duty. And I'll just read what the basic citation says. Distinguished in disregard for his own personal safety, entered the Monksville Reservoir for the individual's kayak capsized and was in distress due to the cold water temperature and thus saving his life. I'd like to introduce Patrolman Dupree, Ringwood Police Department. Patrolman Bregman from West Milford Police Department. Chief Renaud, Erskine Lakes Fire Department. Chief Regal from the Stonetown Fire Department. This time, Mr. Augusta would like your indulgence to say a few words.
Hi, for all you guys who don't know me, my name is George Acosta, and I survived the Monksville Reservoir. All kidding aside, I want to thank the officers behind me who pulled me out of the water when I was in distress, and I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't because of their selfless acts. They risked their lives in order to save mine. I pretty much owe my life to them. My family and I would like to thank you all for allowing me to stay here a little bit longer. So thank you all so much for your dedication to doing your job. And Ringwood, New Jersey is a safer place knowing you are one of its finest. I also want to thank the Ringwood Fire Department, the Ringwood Volunteer Ambulance Corps, West Milford, all of those that were involved in my rescue that day. Again, if it wasn't for all of you, I would not be standing here. I am forever in your debt. Thank you.
Do you want to take a picture or something? I think we can take a 5-minute recess right now. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Come on, boys.
George is Sandy's. Okay, my tape is on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and we are now back. I'd like to thank Chief Walker and Chief Storbeck for that presentation, and congratulate our police officers and our fire service members. Next in the proclamations is a proclamation for the Ringwood Farmers Market 10th anniversary. Whereas the Ringwood Farmers Market has been an important outlet for local agricultural producers, allowing them increased market opportunities to offer local consumers affordable, convenient, and healthful products sold directly from the farm at the peak of freshness for the past 10 years. And whereas the Eat Local Incorporated provides this vehicle to educate the community on the nutritional, environmental, and economic value of buying local, sustainably produced farm products. And whereas the Ringwood Farmers Market supports sustainability of small family farms and plays a key role in developing regional food sheds, supporting the economics of environmentally friendly, locally sourced foods. And whereas the Ringwood Farmers Market, through its Healthy Families program, is involved in the community and supports hunger initiatives through donations of unsold food to feeding programs for those in need through the Center for Food Action. And whereas the mayor and council wish to recognize the Ringwood Farmers Market on their 10th anniversary season for promoting conscientious consumer practices and helping to support important locally owned businesses. Now therefore I, John M. Spear, Mayor of the Borough of Ringwood, on behalf of the Borough Council, do hereby recognize the Ringwood Farmers Market on their 10th opening day, this 27th day of May 2017, and encourage the residents to learn about and support local businesses that contribute to sustainability and to the quality of life in our community. Next order of business is the approval of minutes.
Need a motion to approve the April 25th, 2017 business meeting?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Thank you. Next order of business is general public comment. Anybody having a comment, please come to the microphone. State your name and address for the record.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
Robin Canetti, 310 Lakeview Avenue. I want to comment on events, something that happened at the April 4th meeting. I'm sorry I haven't been here since, but your meeting conflicted with my meeting. Scott Heck spent 6 minutes attacking a Ringwood resident by name, Binka Tall. He actually called her out by name 6 or 7 times. And there was a lot of discussion about social media and attacks against Mr. Heck. And a quote, "I'm a big boy, I can take it. I don't think the community deserves it." I think, and I've said this before, I think you guys misunderstand the role of public servants and people that work for a community. The taxpayers actually pay you. And so if taxpayers have a problem with something, it's absolutely within their right to say something about it. And you are not Ringwood. So criticizing something that you do is not criticizing Ringwood. And in fact, the people that take issue with some of the things that go on from this room are actually doing it because Ringwood is important to us. So for instance, if we don't like your proposal to cap the Superfund site, that's because we think it's bad for Ringwood. It's not that saying you're doing a bad thing means we're attacking the community. We love the community. It's actually why we show up at meetings. We love the community. It's why we take our time to point out things that we feel are shortcomings. And Mr. Marsala talked about social media is fake news. Social media is not fake news. There is fake news on social media. There is no doubt about that. But welcome to the 21st century. People actually get to express their opinions on social media. Social media has been responsible for changing a lot of people's positions, especially in political areas. So to take issue with somebody, call her out by name when she has every right as a citizen to criticize you however and whenever she wants to. That is the right of people. It's guaranteed in the Constitution. Shame on you for using your time as a paid employee of the town to do it in a public forum. And if you made either this portion more transparent, where you actually responded to the members of the public during it, or if you added a public portion at the end of the meeting so people could actually respond when they are attacked, that would be really to benefit the community as well. So, you know, suck it up, people. You put yourselves in these seats, you're going to have to take the criticism that comes with that if people are disappointed in the performance that you've put forth. Thank you.
Venkatall, 24 High Point Lane. At the last meeting, Mr. Marsala stated that all the data that have come from their experts, your experts, concerning O'Connor and the Superfund site, is based on the toxic waste remaining in the ground and not being moved around. If there was a cleanup of the site, he continued, the area could become more contaminated and the contamination could move to different areas. I'm sure Mr. Marsala is aware, I hope he is, that tons and tons of toxic sludge have already been removed from the Superfund site, including the most toxic sludge, which was found at the O'Connor landfill. And there's residue there, by the way. And there will be a lot of moving around of toxic waste once the capping begins. All the toxic soil will be moved away from the stream towards the center of the acreage to get ready for capping. And there's over 100,000 tons remaining of toxic waste, as per the EPA, and I think they know what they're doing, which should be removed and not capped, especially in Ringwood, a watershed community. On another topic, Mr. Klimak, you mentioned at one of the meetings that there is a list of about 10 tax foreclosures, commercial, that the town is going to be foreclosing on. Where could we find that list?
Part of the record.
It's,
the last
I
bunch of
could-
meetings.
It's in the minutes, or?
Yeah.
we can make it available.
Okay.
It's going to be published in the newspaper.
That's what I figured.
Am I out of order?
Not at all. Not at all, Counselor.
It's going to be published in the newspaper soon. You could have
Okay.
a copy. if you
All right.
wanted.
Thank you.
Make a request for Kelly, please.
The
Kelly,
resolution.
can I have a list?
The resolution is posted on
Oh,
the
it is already?
website.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, and it has all the list of the properties?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Hi, Thomas Conway, 19 West Circle. I do believe, I agree, criticism is fundamental to our democracy and it's important. Stigmatization is not. Criticism is posting a policy you don't like, explaining the points against that policy, and moving on. Stigmatization is posting a picture of someone and listing 10 points you don't like about that person. Maybe starting it off with a sentence or a phrase like, ooh la la. That's stigmatization. That's not criticism. There's a big difference. I think as a town, we'll move forward on issues if we focus more on criticizing than stigmatizing. There is a little bit of fake news out there, but more accurately, it's spin. Something that I found against this town and against the homeowners, really our home values are not depressed because of the Superfund site. There's, for the first time in 20 years, our county froze taxes. I think that's great. I commend our freeholders. It was, I believe they're all Democratic, and they were able to freeze the taxes. That's great. So what we end up seeing for the entire county is a zero net county tax. Who goes up and who goes down isn't based on just one town and its Superfund site. There's 16 towns in the county. Wayne and Passaic City actually went up by the highest percent. Why did they go up? Because they're not shackled by the Highlands Act. They can develop commercial properties. It's not a redistribution of rateables, it's an increase in rateables. Wayne, Ward 1, had new businesses come in. They added $2.8 million to their tax bill. That's a large amount. So while they're busy developing, the taxes on a flat year can go down in some of the towns that aren't developing. I look around town, besides a pipeline that tore through our forest and a rehab center going up, I don't see too many new businesses popping up in Ringwood in new locations. That's part of the problem. Now, if we look at the numbers from the 18 towns, Ringwood actually ranks number 5 of the the 16 towns. Ringwood is the fifth, is number 5 if you rank them from the biggest decrease to the biggest increase. So starting at a negative number, going to positive. Number 3 in a town that actually saw a bigger decrease in Ringwood is West Milford. I'm not aware of a Superfund site there, and if there is one, they're not talking about it as much as we talk about it here. But West Milford had a 3.67 decrease. We had 2.87% decrease. West Milford and Ringwood have one thing in common. And the reason we're at the decrease in this list, we're both completely in the Highlands Act. The Highlands Act is the issue. We're not getting the promised revenue from it. Our taxes are skyrocketing. Our schools are suffering because of that. When our town signed on to the Highlands Act, I wasn't around back then. I don't know what went on, but we gave up something big. I hope we didn't just willingly sign up for it, because even though the Highlands Act is good for the state of New Jersey, it's not good for Ringwood. And when something's not good for your town, it's the council's position back then to negotiate to make it good for us. We should have made sure there was a tax, a water tax that brings in revenue, because we gave up something. What did we get in return? I'm not sure. But many communities south of us got clean, good water in return, and I don't know what we got in return. So just to put it in perspective, again, I think it's unfair to say that Ringwood and the Superfund site and the council's decision is hurting our property values. West Milford took a biggest hit. Anyone that's in the Highlands is going to take a hit, and we're going to see our percentage of taxes go down as cities like Wayne, Passaic City, Woodland Park, Haledon, and Clifton build up their commercial sectors and their industrial sectors, and we're left pretty flat. Thank you.
Good evening, Kathy O'Keefe, 148 Cupsaw Avenue. I wasn't planning on speaking, but after hearing Mr. Conway speak, I felt I had to get up. I was at the budget meeting last week when we talked about the Highlands Act, and I noticed in the record recently that there's this article about New Jersey waterways being under stress, and the Highlands Act was put into effect to protect the land that protects our water. And you're right, Mr. Conway. We do supply clean, good water to much of the state. And the Highlands Act was put in place so that we could continue to do that. I think it's important that we advocate for the value of this land and get the ratables on this land up. But I come from Bergenfield, New Jersey, and when I was young, there was a lot of farms there. As I grew up, the zoning wasn't too good, and we were building houses on 25 by 100 lots. And then we became very, very crowded. And you could get stuck in a traffic jam just going from Bergenfield to the neighboring town in Dumont. Well, I came to Ringwood in 1995, and I was drawn here by the beauty of the open space and the mountains, and it was just the relief that you felt coming over that mountain from living in one of the most populous states in the country. As a matter of fact, I moved most of my friends and family up here to Ringwood, and they too came because of the natural beauty and the open space that the Highlands Act protects. And although the Superfund might not be the only reason we haven't seen our ratables go up, it certainly doesn't help that we're seeing headlines like this in our paper, Mr. Conway, because I work for a corporation in Montvale, New Jersey, and we relocate people from all over the state and the country. I work for Mercedes-Benz. We bring people from everywhere. And when I've had people come in from California, I'd say, come to my town. You got to check it out. It's the best place in New Jersey to live. And I've had people not settle here because they found out about the Superfund site, and the wife chose Fair Lawn instead. So I think it's good press. I think we need to promote the good stuff that we have up here that we aren't doing successfully. And maybe cleaning it up would get these headlines off the front page. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. My name is Paul Sullivan, 69 Lakeview Ave. Thank you for having me here tonight. And I personally feel that the entire council really knows what they're doing, and has Ringwood at the heart, their own hearts, and everything that they do. And I personally like to thank you for maintaining the taxes the way you did this year. I think we're in good shape with a small increase. And thank God for the county, and the school didn't seem to be as bad as we anticipated. But I personally want to thank the entire board, Judge Clay Mack, our mayor, Kelly, and Scott Heck, especially for keeping everything as under control as they can. Understanding the Superfund site is a whole nother issue, but overall, outside of that problem, which is a problem, I'd just like to thank you for your effort. I'd also like to say that the Skyline Drive looks good. I'd like the little encouragement from everybody to continue to help keep that area clean, pick up whatever they can, and I think it looks great, Mr. Heck. Thank you very much for your help.
Anyone else?
See no one? Good.
Second? Yes,
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison.
Yes.
Landis.
Yes.
Marsala.
Yep.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to mention anything from what you heard at public session, or we should keep moving on?
I mean,
Huh?
want me to cut in now? I'll cut in now instead of later.
Sure. Councilman, if you'd like.
Sure, just a couple of things. And I think this will address a couple of comments addressed to myself and Mr. Heck. I think that my record up here of 16 years is long-standing, that I've repeatedly said that differing opinion is more than welcomed up here because it generates more ideas, and sometimes there's not just one way to go. When you hear a differing opinion, it might convince you otherwise. Criticism is good. It's differing opinion. However, I do agree with Ms. Canetti that there is fake news on social media. And what was pointed out was that a lot of these sites go beyond the criticism or the stating of a different opinion. It goes to the point of disseminating misinformation, untrue information, and the wrong facts, okay? So in that way, information on those sites or pages on Facebook is, you want to call it fake news, but is inaccurate, I'll say, okay, to be fair. But if it's stopped at stating an opinion or criticizing, fine. But some of the statements that are made on there go beyond that, almost to the point of being slanderous or libelous, okay, against people. As far as for myself, I mean, I find it amusing that if someone would take that much time out of their life to screenshot a picture off my Facebook page and put it on there with a little comment, I mean, it's amusing. You know, we sit up here, it's a political cartoon. If they would take that much time out of their life to do that, I kind of feel sorry for them. All right, that is one thing on the fake news. As far as my statements regarding toxic waste in the ground and above the ground, we're talking about, I'm well aware of a lot of toxic waste being moved around and cleaned up and so forth in the entire area, okay? But in this one issue, we're talking about one specific site. And that one specific site, the whole point is we don't know what will happen if that is removed. We don't know if it'll make it worse or better. So right now we have to go with what we know. We go with what is the known factor. And there's too many variables because in that one specific site, that dirt or that toxic waste in the dirt has been sitting there for 40 or 50 years. That would address that. As far as knowing what public duty is, I think this council, you look at anyone on this council, and I think we understand what our role is up here. In fact, this is where I disagree with the speaker. We didn't put ourselves in these seats. The voters put us in these seats, and we take that serious. And I think you look at anyone's resume up here, and there's things that go beyond serving on the council to volunteerism in town, which shows that we do understand what it means to be serve your town in a public manner. And you know what? We mentioned the Highlands Act, Mr. Mayor. I don't want to go on, but the Highlands Act, it is a strain on this town. But the fact that it's a strain on this town is just evidence and really emphasizes what a great job Mr. Heck and his staff does in coming up with new, innovative ways to create revenue for the town, to make the Highlands, the strain that the Highlands Act creates, to make it less restraining on this town and have a less effect on this town. So again, Mr. Heck and his staff deserves all the credit, do a great job to try to offset this effect of the Highlands Act from some of the lowest taxes in the county or the lowest increases. Again, I know Mr. Heck made a presentation last meeting, and, you know, the way he makes his presentations, you know, he just assumes that everybody's going to get it right away, and he goes through it. But again, we have to reiterate, I mean, it's a $24 increase, it's $2 a month, it's 50 cents a week. It costs you more to go get a cup of coffee for one day at Dunkin' Donuts and a luncheonette. So you're talking 50 cents a week. You can't find that anyplace else. That, and also the job that he and his staff and this council has done, where Ringwood is in the ratings, in the top 50 and the top 100 in the state for safest places to live, and in the country for best places to live. That is just amazing, absolutely amazing. Super fun or not, to get ranked there just shows the amazing job that the staff up here at Borough Hall under Mr. Heck's leadership and the council is doing. So, Mr. Mayor, I think that addresses almost everything. Oh, one other thing. I owe the residents an apology, okay? And Councilwoman Schaefer and Councilwoman Landis also asked me to mention their names in this. Last meeting, I was compelled to respond because people started to come up here on taxpayer time, taxpayer money, during the time we were doing the business of the town to start campaigning. So I felt, equal time on TV, and I felt the need to respond and campaign. And I just want to, apologize to the residents for doing that, and on behalf of Councilwoman Schaefer and Landis, apologize for them, because it's our feeling in retrospect, and they always say hindsight's 20/20, that absolutely no campaigning should ever be done during the business meeting of a town on taxpayer time or taxpayer money. So, with that, we should have known better. Unfortunately, people that, came up don't know better. They're, inexperienced, and but it's our experience in these seats that have led the town to that great lack of a tax increase and those great ratings as the best town, one of the safest towns in the state, and one of the best places to live in all of the United States. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Sure.
Anyone else? You know what, I'll just hit a couple points real quick. Yeah, fake news, social media, whatnot. What drives me kind of nuts is when claims such as home values are depressed due to the Superfund site, which is something that is actually verifiable. You can get data and you can actually find out about that. You go to Zillow, you can get like the median home sale price for the past 8-10 years in this zip code, in the next zip code to the south, the next zip code to the west. You can compare them all, plot them, normalize them. You'll find out the curves all look alike. There's really no separation. It's more of a global or regional kind of a problem there. But it's easily found out with just a few minutes of Googling and doing some analysis. You'll know the difference. But some people want to believe that type of a story. Also, when you do see those newspaper articles, take a look at them. Take a look at who is being interviewed by those. Those are very easy to plant. I can text a reporter right now and probably get something published in the Record tomorrow, if I so choose. And you would say, Mayor Spear said this, and Mayor Spear said that, and then a couple other paragraphs. And Mayor, take a look at who's being interviewed. Take a look at who is putting the story in the paper. It'll be enlightening. If you even want to go to the newspaper's website, You can look up the story, you can look up the comments, you can see who was trying to keep these things alive and in front of the public there. There's really no, we kicked around the idea a couple of times of getting some kind of a public relations firm in here to try to clear this up. It's really some of our residents that are just trying to, trying to sway the council, and they're perfectly willing to drag the borough through the mud to do so, and that's that's their choice, and we'll live with it. But if you think that that kind of negative attention is bothering us, please try to take a look and try to read through the lines of where this is actually coming from. If somebody moved to Fairlawn, whose I think their municipal well field is a Superfund site, that's kind of baffling to me, but that's the power of that kind of advertising and that kind of news stories that are going out to people who don't really have the time or inclination to look a little bit deeper into the problem. These are what's going to happen. And the Highlands Act, I don't think the borough received anything. There was no accommodations made for the fact that Ringwood has a population of people in it, and it's actually habitat for people. That was not considered in the least. Ringwood, in the eyes of this act, is really just a place for rain to fall, and it's consequently it's very hard to do anything, or at least anything that would involve disturbing the land, putting a shovel in the ground or cutting down a tree. That's really not something that we can do very easily around here. And a water tax. I've long been against a water tax. Any money that goes to Trenton, we would be a net payer of a water tax if it went through Trenton. There has to be some better way. We're trying to lobby our legislators, but you'd be surprised that once these people that are down in the receiving side of the watershed, once they get this water and have taken away your property rights, they don't really feel the need to compensate you 10 or 12 years afterwards. It just doesn't strike them as one of their high priorities. So that really is very difficult to get any kind of traction, to get any kind of help up here for the residents in trying to stabilize the tax base. I think that hit the large points. Mr. Heck, something to add?
Probably less than a minute. You are correct. Some towns did, when they signed on to the Highlands bill, like West Milford got more than $700,000 when they signed on to the Highlands bill. Unfortunately, this town didn't get anything. That's unfortunate. It is somewhat ironic that we are reducing our potential for development and increased taxes and increased ratables and so forth, so that we can provide water to all these people in New Jersey who are building like there's no tomorrow and need more and more water every day. It's somewhat ironic that we're doing our part, and we are stewards of the watershed, and we take that seriously, while they're building like there's no tomorrow. So that's somewhat of a ironic situation. And I am an employee of the borough, and I did talk about some posts. But as an employee, I'm also the borough manager, and I take my job seriously, and part of my job is to protect our town. And protecting that town sometimes is talking about repeatedly reading posts that are bad for the community, inaccurate, potentially libelous, and after repeatedly seeing them and having people talk about them, you feel like, you know what, you should at least hold the people somewhat accountable for the inaccurate posts that they do, and that's also part of the process. And if they want to post those hateful things, and I kind of feel bad for some of those people because they're, in my opinion, these things are just hateful and they're born out of hate. Not all of it, just some of it, and I think that they also have to be held accountable for what they say, and that's unfortunate. I've also been a resident here since 1967. I've been here a long time, so I also have the right to be heard for some of those same reasons. So my job as a manager is to protect the town. My job as a resident is to be able to have something to say as well. So I'm not going to go into all those little issues. I think I just thought I would respond a little bit. I think you covered everything else.
Very good, Mr. Heck. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. I think there is nothing under old business this evening. Under new business, I think there was an ordinance at your place. Mr. Heck, if you take us through that, please.
Yeah. This ordinance is really from the residents. We have some issues with some parking and some behavior that's not acceptable in some areas, and I met with some of the people on these streets, and we are going to pass some ordinances, increase some parking regulations to try to curb some of the concerns. And this is, I spoke to all the residents that are affected by this, and all of them were in favor of it. This is an ordinance that is going to we're going to add Cannon Mine Road, the easterly side, no parking on the easterly side of Cannon Mine Road at all. There'll be parking on the other side of the road by the park for anybody that's using the park. And we're going to amend Van Dunk Lane. Right now, there's a portion of Van Dunk Lane that has no parking on both sides. We're going to include the whole road instead of just a portion of it, where it's going to be the entire length of Van Dunk Lane with the exception of the parking permitted in front of Lot 604, Lot 1, for the purposes of playground parking and playground use only. So this is something that I'd like to have the first reading, if we could, this evening. Again, the residents support this.
Went through the police department?
Yes, I went through the police department, who actually gave me the
proper format and the...
And then Kelly did what she did to make sure it fit.
Excellent.
So moved.
Okay, this is ordinance 2017-06, an ordinance to read by title, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Spear.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison.
Yes.
Landis.
Yes.
Marsala.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic of the revised ordinance of the Borough of Ringwood, Section 7-14, Parking prohibited all times on certain streets, to amend Van Dunk Lane and add Cannon Mine Road. Okay, I'll recite a resolution. Resolve that ordinance number 2017-06, as read by title, is hereby introduced with second reading and public hearing on Tuesday, June 20, 2017, at 8 p.m. at the Municipal Building, and the Borough Clerk is authorized and directed to publish a copy of the ordinance in the official newspaper of the municipality. Could be a
Do we have that motion?
What?
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes,
resolution?
yes.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison.
Yes.
Landis.
Yes.
Marsala.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait a second. What was that hearing date, June 20?
Yes.
Okay. Next on the agenda is resolutions. Mr. Heck? take
Thank you,
us
Mayor. Resolution 2017-119, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified that funds are available for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $260,800.47, supplemental payments in the amount of $4,131,068.46, merchant service fees in the amount of $107.75, Slapoa Dam Assessment Fund in the amount of $43,178.60, to be credited to the following accounts for a total of $4,435,155.28, of which $1,022,311 is going to Lake County Board of Education, and $1,833,921 is going to the Ringwood Board of Education.
So moved.
Do I have a second on the bill list?
Second.
No. Withdraw your second. Could you have a mental conflict? Yeah. He's withdrawing his second. We'll explain that in a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other second?
Second.
Yeah, okay.
Second, any discussion?
No, I'll explain what Councilman Bertucci will be, withdrew his second, will be abstaining. There is a payment regarding the Skyline Lakes Dam.
Very good.
So in the interest of, not to have alleged conflict of interest, he'll abstain from any action on this motion.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Spear.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Abstain.
Councilmembers Davison.
Yes.
Landis.
Yes.
Marsala.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Resolution 2017-120, and this is developer agreement that came from the planning board attorney. Be it resolved, Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes the execution of the First Amendment to the developers agreement for BHR Ringwood Realty LLC, Block 1100, Lot 1, SB 2013, number 180.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci.
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison.
Yes.
Landis.
Yes.
Marsala.
Yep.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Resolution 2017-121. This is a resolution for the Wanacue Valley Regional Sewage Authority runs our James Drive treatment plant. They've done it through the operation and a daily monitoring of the plant. It's a minimal increase, and it's for a 3-year period. Be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves and authorizes the Borough Manager and the Borough Clerk to execute an agreement with Wanacue Valley Regional Sewage Authority for the operation and maintenance of the James Drive treatment plant through April 30th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Sphere?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
This next resolution is coming from the legislature. Our Assemblywoman Holly Shapizi put together a piece of legislation looking to further study the affordable housing obligations throughout the state, providing municipalities some relief from any kind of builder's remedy lawsuits that might go on in the interim until the problem is studied. I think that the Assemblywoman has put together a pretty good case that the amount of housing growth that is currently being demanded by the housing advocates and apparently by the judiciary would have a long-term negative impact on the state and on our municipalities in terms of infrastructure needs and the like. I don't know, Counselor, should I read this whole thing out here? It's about a page and a half of.
I don't think you have to.
Yeah,
I think you explained it.
It's fully laid out in
Yes.
the minutes.
Yeah.
But this is, like I said, this is Assemblywoman Shapizi's legislation. Imposes a moratorium on affordable housing litigation through December 31st, 2017. So they're looking to act kind of quickly just to get a study on this. I think our numbers were, Dick, do you have our?
Yes,
our
well,
numbers?
the
Okay.
number, the number, there are claims.
There's a
The,
couple,
yeah,
yes.
the claim number of the Fair Housing Committee, that's one of the leading advocates in the state for Ringwood, is approximately 300 units, okay? Now, that is low and moderate income housing. That's the claim of their experts, okay? That hasn't been judicially determined, but other towns have been hit for thousands. So what this resolution does is asking that everything be held in abeyance until the legislature can do a study. The legislature can do a study, rather than it being piecemeal by courts. For instance, courts in one county could have one view of it, courts in another county could have another view of it, and they're looking for a uniform way to approach this problem without overburdening towns or upsetting planning processes, et cetera.
Okay, we could get a motion first?
So moved. Second.
Second. Any discussion? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Sphere?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yep.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Resolution 2017-123, whereas the contract was awarded to Bragington Construction for the Skyline Drive 792 Water Rehabilitation Tank, contract number 2015-102C, tank and coatings rehabilitation on May 17th, 2016. And whereas H2M Inc. prepared current change order number 2, final, which will decrease the contract amount by $48,356 or a negative 4.87% of the original contract amount of $993,005. That number's not correct, but
993,000.
to
Oh, yeah.
$944,700. And whereas H2M Associates prepared current estimate number 9, final, in the amount of $28,302 for the work performed on the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves change order number 2, final, in the amount of $48,356, a decrease of 4.87% of the original contract amount, and the current estimate number 5, final, in the amount of $28,302 to Bragington Construction of Linden, New Jersey. Be it further resolved, this payment be made subject to the New Jersey Monthly Manning Report, certified payroll records, and a maintenance bond required by the contract specification. So that number is, it looks like there's just an extra comma in there.
No, it's $993,056.
$56, okay. And, but the important part of the number is
Yeah.
the decrease of the contract amount of $48,356.
So moved.
Second.
What do we got left to go on this?
It's complete. It's complete. We're waiting for part of some kind. They put the heater in for the controls, and it's complete.
Soil cleanup to do. Yeah.
So the cleanup's going to be done outside of this contract we have some lead paint from the original stripping. It was there prior to them starting. We did the soil samples after they finished. The levels stay the same, so it's not the contractor's responsibility. So we're gonna be taking care of that next.
Okay.
Any other discussion on $1 million paint job? We don't have to do this again for a while, right?
No, not, well, we have to do the next tanks. My goal is to try and make sure that our water system is maintained and in good shape, and we have 2 more tanks to do in Erskine. And then,
Much smaller than this guy, right?
except that there's 2 of them. So,
Okay.
and then when we get done with that, we're probably gonna have to go to meter replacement, because they're due.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second, Cal?
Yes, I do.
Take a roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yep.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Next order of business, consent agenda resolutions.
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood is not desirous of removing any resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. 2017-124, approval of consent. 2017-125, authorized redemption tax sale certificate various. 2017-126, approval of payroll and payroll transfers for April. 2017-127, professional service payment, water system computer modeling, contract number 2016-105 in the amount of $7,050. And 2017-128, authorized refund of escrow monies, Board of Adjustment, Block 400, Lot 4.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Councilmembers Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yep.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, manager's report.
I have a brief report tonight, Mayor. First of all, your kind words before, I don't deserve the credit for it. The people in this building and the DPW workers and the police department, everybody here puts forth all that effort to get the things done that we need to get done, as well as the council for the effort that they put into the finances and the budget. So while it's nice of you to say that, it's really everybody here that does this. And it takes this entire town, everybody here. So the water system computer modeling, H2M is continuing on this project. We hope to have this computer model done in the coming months. So that's something that we look forward to. We'll be able to manage our system and know how the effects of a complex water system, what will happen when we turn on a valve here or a valve there, and that's kind of what our goal is. So the Kingsley Road and Hope Place intersection survey and design, the preliminary design for the end of that road is complete. It's under review right now. We're talking about making the minor adjustments to the road so that it's a little safer for the kids, for the pedestrians before we pave it. The subdivision survey for the property is on Horseshoe Bend and Milligan Drive and so forth, where we put fencing up. The surveyor, that's in the process right now. They're doing the field work, and then we'll be doing the minor subdivisions as appropriate once we get all that done. We're working on this is the last section of the building where we're going to be working on. We've been talking about it for a while. Jeff's working on the final touches for that, so that's going to be coming your way very soon. Orange and Rockland. Orange and Rockland have begun installing, we talked about this a couple of months ago, they're installing a second feed from the northern part of the town to the southern part of the town, starting with the power station right here on Peters Mine Road. They're going to be running an underground line through the reservoir to be able to feed both sides of town. So if there's tree outages and trees down, and if their grid goes down for one reason, right now we have a lot of power outages anytime there's any type of accident or anytime because they only have one feed. This will give us a second feed into the community. It's something that's very beneficial for our community, for our well houses, for the residents by and large, because they're going to be able to shut off their gates and send the electric a different direction. So that's begun, and that should be going, I don't know how long it's going to take, but that's what's going on there. Caring for Ringwood Day was a good success. According to Caesar, there was approximately 147 people who showed up to help with caring for Ringwood. Recreation has a lot of stuff going on. They opened the camps for the summer. They're offering soccer, baseball, tennis, and speed camps, agility camps, and cheerleading camps this year. We're also going to be having a pre-summer coaching class. You know, we went to our insurance companies required us to go to the Rutgers safety course. It was better than the other stuff that we had. It was more current. It was interactive. So we keep finding that we have to get more and more of those coaches trained, and we have a certified person here to do that. So there's going to be another one, I think on Saturday, June 17th, here at Borough Hall. You can register online for that class. There's a new rec men's basketball program that plays Wednesday nights, 7 to 9:30 at Ryerson School. We've also begun women's softball, program that the registration has begun for the program that ends in June. Let's see what else. Fall programs are starting to also. And the police department is collecting applications for the Junior Police Academy. It was a great success the last 2 years. They have I think the flyers are going out through the rec office, but we're looking to have another great year with our Junior Police Academy. And the seniors, we have a new Tai Chi exercise class. I guess it was successful because they sold out, so they're looking for ways they can expand that. And we have another program this year that we're doing in June in conjunction with the Center for Family Food Action. As you know, that everybody thinks about the food bank in November during the holiday time, but quite frankly, hunger doesn't take a vacation. Most of us are thinking about going away, but the hunger doesn't ever go away. So I met with some of the religious organizations in town, and they asked me if we would consider doing a pilot program that they have done in South Jersey. So we're going to do that. And June is going to be, awareness in Ringwood. So the food banks are critically low then, and we're going to have a program where you can drop off food at assigned locations on specified days. Our summer interns will pick them up at your house. We have these bags that we're going to distribute. And, if you want to pick it up, you call and let us know. You don't want to get to the locations, we'll come and pick it up. We have a schedule for what days we're going to be in which districts in town. And we're going to try and help the Center for Food Action that way. I think it's a great program. The bags are going to be available here at Borough Hall, at the library. You can go on the website for details. But we're also going to have a storefront up by the Stop and Shop to be able to collect this stuff, and then we're going to try and help our food bank out that way. It creates awareness as well as it helps the folks who really need help in these times. So that's a positive thing. In insurance companies, the relationship with an insurance company is always a bittersweet relationship, as you all know, because you need them when you have a catastrophic event, or you need them for whatever reason, whether it's a car, whether it's a building, whatever the case may be. And they're a necessary part of life. However, I'm sure we can all agree that insurance companies' also's objective is to not pay. Their goal is to take your money when your premium's due, but not necessarily pay when you have a claim. Unfortunately, our insurance company is no different. The insurance companies for our Superfund site are operating under a reservation of right, which means they can at any time decide to decline coverage and not pay. Is that correct, Mr. Klimek? Yes. And they're currently paying for our defense and what costs that they agree upon. But as is often with the case with insurance companies, they deny expenses when they so choose, or they feel it's something that they can get away with, and then they don't pay the bills. I'm in the process of negotiating with the carriers to pay the costs, but there's some costs that they're not picking up at this point, and some costs from our professionals and so forth. So if in fact, I've alerted you guys to this a couple of months ago, I'm going to alert you to it again. If in fact I am not successful with negotiating them to pay all of the bills that they've already agreed to, then I'm going to ask for special counsel to go whatever we have to do to force them to pay. So at this point, some of those bills are accumulating. So I want you all to know about it now, and just remind you that next meeting, if in fact it's not resolved, I'm going to be asking for special counsel for that. Before you this evening, also, I think it's in the manager's report section. This is a continuation contract, but and it's within our spending authority. But I rather have a resolution. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for professional services for engineering. This is the contract that we originally laid out for the recycling center design and construction, which was covered by the insurance companies and also Ford Motor Company. We had to make some amendments to it. So this is a new contract for that particular cost, because the costs are going through us. I do want to make sure that we have a resolution to pay some of those bills. The cost is $29,600, and again, this is something that is going to be reimbursed by both of those entities.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
The next resolution is contract payments, progress payments on Work Engineering and Land Planning Associates for the updated recycling center, as we talked about. Whereas the Borough Manager has submitted and recommends a payment in the amount of $18,064.01 for the work completed. Now therefore be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves payment in the amount of $18,064.01 for the updated recycling center and the permitting application fees to EL&P of Highbridge, New Jersey. And again, this is reimbursable.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Two more things, quick. The library, some improvements need to be done to the library. The walkway and the library is in desperate need of repair. Some of the peepholes underneath the sidewalk are clogged with calcium, and it's not allowing the water to drain, and it's creating uneven surfaces. So we're in the process of getting quotes to replace those bricks.
Those are all the bricks with the names on it.
Yeah, well, I've spoke to the library, and they're deciding how they want to handle that. And at this point, we got to get them replaced. So I'm hopeful that in the next couple of weeks, the library will decide how they want to handle the memorial bricks that they had put in there. I think there's like 900 of them, something along those
Are
lines.
bricks eroded at all?
What's happening is the bricks, they're breaking down. The bricks are breaking down, and actually where they etch them, and they etch them with heat, what happens is they split in half horizontally, and then you get a half-inch thing on the top, and then you have the rest of the brick on the bottom. And sometimes that happened with the earlier process. Pavers are not permanent bricks. They're, it's like anything else. They break down, and so we're looking to replace all those. It's something that really needs to be done. We had a safety issue. We've had a couple people fall. And I'm anxious to get it done because I don't like pardon our appearance signs while we renovate because of the uneven surfaces. So we're in the process of doing that. The library has had a lot of discussions with their groups about how they want to handle their memorial bricks and what do we do at this point. So I've been working with them on that. But I would like in the next month or 6 weeks to really start on a project to get that fixed. We also are going to be doing some work on the roof of the library. It's 17 years old, and if you don't keep these buildings up and fix them as they start to have issues, they fall down around you. So the library roof is in some need of attention, so we're going to get that taken care of. Questions about the library?
No. Find more expensive stuff to fix over at the library.
Well, it's an expensive building, but
There's a number.
the roof is something that keeps it dry, so we got to
Yeah.
do that.
Oh, it's protecting books.
Yeah. They also do a lot at the library. There's a lot of
Yes.
community center items, and they do a good job at providing programs that help support the town and are kind of work in conjunction with recreation. They're working where they do things that we don't do, and they kind of work all that out. So also Skyline Drive project. As you drive around town, you're going to notice that we're making some improvements and beautification throughout our community. We've been doing this for a couple of years. In the past, we've done the intersection of Peters Mine Road and Mark King Avenue. We did some improvements along Erskine Road. We've replaced a lot of the guardrails with the old dilapidated ones, with either wooden ones that we stain or new guardrails, whatever it does to increase some of the aesthetics of the area. We've also we installed a tree in Cupsaw, as you know, in the past. And we've done some island work in Skyline Lakes this winter, and we're going to be doing some more work in Skyline Lakes. So what I try to do is each year increase some of the areas and try to neaten it up. You don't have to spend a lot of money to neaten it up, make it look clean and neat. Everybody's asked what we were doing in Skyline Drive. Well, all we were doing is trying to get rid of the weeds, create a grassy area. People can walk down the grassy area if they so choose. It's aesthetically pleasing. We kind of neatened up that whole stretch. It's unfortunate that somebody decided to drive through it. I don't fully understand that, but, which is why now you see posts up, unfortunately. But we also solved some drainage problems. At the bottom where they drove through, there was a culvert there that was filled with mud and debris and stuff that when the water left the road, it washed down and washed that stuff and filled in the culverts. And we do a really good job in town about doing our stormwater maintenance and maintaining our stormwater. So as long as we were going to fix that culvert, I figured let's fix the water coming down the street so it gets into the catch basins instead of washing out the grass and the roads and so forth. So that's all that is. It's just an improvement project, and you're going to see a lot of those as we get through.
Mr. Heck, even though the county hasn't raised their taxes, what are they doing with 511, with the guardrails, the fences that are down? I mean, that's their job, to be fixing those.
Well, two things. It's not that the county didn't raise their budget. They did. The problem the reason that we're not having an increase in our taxes is not because they cut their budget. It's because we didn't have any development when everybody else did.
Right.
Our rateable base didn't grow like everybody else did, so other people are paying a little bit bigger share. So I just want to clarify that. It's not that they cut their taxes and they kept their taxes flat. It's that these other towns had a larger increase, so the ratios changed, and that's why we don't have an increase from the county this particular year. So in terms of the guardrails, I had the county come up to, I think we had like 50 places where they needed to do some guardrail stuff, and they came up and they're going to have a contractor fix them. We send them, as I talked about last meeting, we have a contractor, we send them all the police reports so that, because I bill the insurance companies if somebody hits a sign or somebody hits whatever, because that's cost to us. The county's doing the same thing, and so Mr. Silverberg came up and he's going to replace all those guardrail. Some of the fences are owned by the county, some of the fences are owned by the reservoir. They're not all owned by the county, so it depends on where it is. But we're working with both of those agencies to try and get those things fixed, because there's a lot of spots where they've been taken down. So I think that answered your question.
Speaking of the county, how are we looking with Westbrook Road, the bridge? Is there any further updates? I thought that.
Well, we should have been moving a beam.
I thought that the steel was yeah. I thought.
I didn't see any steel around.
I haven't seen any steel up there, so.
You know, the target date to open up the Tappanzee is October of this year.
Well, I think they've made great strides in getting the bridge further along. So we're anxious to get that done, because I would like to get Westbrook Road paved, and I don't want to be doing it while they're doing that mess. There's a portion of Westbrook Road that desperately needs some attention. And I think we've worked out where Wanacue is also going to participate with us in Westbrook Road so that they do their section. So it's going to be, but I don't have any updates.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was just wondering.
This evening, but I can certainly email you and get some back.
Thanks.
Quick question. Last meeting I brought up the mall where TD Bank is. Any inquiry into the owner about putting up a sign?
The owner's going to put up signage.
Great. Because the only reason, all the years I've lived up here, I've never seen that, but the last 3 months,
Right.
I keep seeing it over and over and over. I don't know what's going on all of a sudden.
Yeah,
So
that's
good to know.
Yeah, they're doing some improvements there. They're going to put up one-way signage and do not enter signs.
Okay, that's good.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Heck, thank you. Next on the agenda, attorney's report.
Just one item, Mr. Mayor. On June 5 at 8 p.m.,
I was suggesting we put at Ringwood State Park. We put a playground there. As get some housing development in sections of Ringwood, Passaic County. There should be some stores, some facilities at Passaic County.
I agree, Mark, thank you.
Yeah, on June 5th, the planning board is going to have a session, an open and an executive session, where they're going to be discussing the case in the matter of the Borough of Ringwood, which is our Mount Laurel case pending in the Superior Court Law Division. Mr. Dunn will be making a presentation of the status of the case to the planning board, And it was suggested that members of the council may want to attend. So if more than three, that is at four, attend, we have to give notice. So I'm just, and I know most of you are interested in attending, so I'm just going to recite the following resolution. Okay, whereas the planning board will be conducting a session opening executive regarding the case in the matter of the Borough of Ringwood, which is pending in the Superior Court Law Division, Passaic County, which is our Mount Laurel action. And whereas the planning board will discuss that case in detail, as I said, in executive session, perhaps an open session, whereas all the members of the municipal council have been invited to attend, now therefore be it resolved that notice is hereby given that members of the municipal council, which may constitute a quorum, will be attending the open and executive session of the planning board meeting of June 5, 2017, and the borough clerk is authorized and directed to give the appropriate notices of same.
What time is that meeting?
8 p.m.
8.
What is that, 131, that resolution number?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison?
Yes.
Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yep.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Heck, do we have anything for executive session?
I have nothing this evening.
And Counselor?
Okay. Being nothing for executive session, mayors, members of the council. Councilman Davison.
Just to follow up on the Ringwood Avenue, Westbrook Road situation. Today, if anybody commutes down Ringwood Avenue, as I do every morning, apparently in Pompton, in that area, they're doing major work on Hamburg Turnpike.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
rumor I got. And it took me twice the normal time it took me to get to the county office at barbecue today, and I'm upset about that. Now, what am I gonna do in the bridge?
When those beams
up?
come across.
What?
Maybe that's, yeah, when they start transporting
Yeah,
those
it's gonna
things
be
during the
tough
middle
on
of the
Ringwood
day.
Avenue. It could be a mess
Yeah.
within the next week or two, if it happens that quickly.
I think they're fixing the railroad tracks over in that Riverdale. That
Is that what it
Riverdale
is near
area.
there?
And I
I
think
didn't
it's
go
going to
that
take a
far.
week or two, because I think it's all this week and part of
They
next
move, yeah, they move to another location the second week, yeah.
Gonna wind up going over the mountain, period.
Wow. Take 287?
Yeah. One exit.
Yeah, backed up pretty bad this morning.
God, terrible. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Landis.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
I just have the Ringwood Christian School is having a fish and chips this Friday, the 19th. Take out 5 to 6, eat in 5:30 to 7:30. The tickets are $15, and you can call 973-962-4996 if you're interested. Thanks.
Councilman?
Progress.
Indeed. Deputy Mayor?
I'm good.
Get the hell. With that,
Real progress.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Second. And roll call, please.
Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Council members Davison? Landis?
Yes.
Marsala?
Yep.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Ooh.